Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. There has been a lot of talk over the past couple of days of an incoming solar flare, solar event that was due to hit Earth, or is going to hit Earth, and possibly knock out our communication systems, even our power. You know, if the CME is large enough. CME, by the way, is coronal mass ejection. And if you haven't been following the news recently over the past week, well, a few days ago, NASA, as well as other astronomers, detected this giant sunspot that was larger than Earth itself, slowly turning towards Earth, where it was almost dead on facing us. Basically, these dark spots on the sun are actually areas that are cooler than the rest of the surrounding sun. And these dark areas can be very dangerous because they're highly magnetic, and these are what can create these massive solar flares and huge explosions on the sun that shoot out, blast out into space, and if we are in its direct line of sight, can hit our atmosphere, hit our planet, and if powerful enough, can disrupt our satellites, our communication, and send us back to the 17th century. And there was some geomagnetic activity over the past few days, particularly from what I can see over Australia, because I started getting emails from people who were wondering if there was some sort of EMP attack. And I'm sure you guys know what an EMP is. It's kind of like an energy weapon that is detonated in the atmosphere that can knock out power grids, similarly to a coronal mass ejection. And so people started tweeting and posting on Facebook about how over the past 2 days, their streetlights were going out, the power in their homes was going out. Here's a post by Kayla Gray who said, quote, "Did anyone else notice an EMP-like event near Burima?" And I'm sure I'm not saying that correctly. But she goes on to say, "The sky lit up momentarily, all the streetlights turned off, and the radio cut out." Now, there was a ton of responses to this post, and I'm showing you those here, from what amounted to thousands of people who said, yes, lights went out, radio went out, a huge power surge, lost Wi-Fi, TV signal went out. One poster said all the streetlights in Linear went off, saw a shooting star about 30 seconds before it happened. Another user stated, "We saw a shooting star streak across the sky just before the power cut and the lights and TV flickered." And so we're getting a bunch of reports of power and communications going out momentarily, which could be related to this solar activity from the sun. But what's strange is all of these reports of what people were calling a shooting star, which I really don't know how that could have any effect on the power grid. And that is what has raised the question of a possible EMP, whether it's a test, whether it, whatever it was, but people saw something flying through the sky, and then suddenly the power dimmed and went out for a few minutes. You know, I wanted to post this and see if anybody in Australia, or for that matter over the world, experienced any sort of strange activity with your phones, radios, TVs, anything at all, and post it down in the comments. Now, in other news, I've got some UFO sightings to show you, as well as a very interesting story that just came out about a group of astronomers from the Arecibo Observatory who detected what they called, quote, strange signals from a small star only 11 light years away from Earth. Researchers picked up the mysterious signals on May 12th, using the Arecibo Observatory, which is a huge radio telescope built inside of a Puerto Rican sinkhole. And the radio signals appear to be coming from this small red dwarf star called Ross 128. And so they don't know a whole lot about this star, and it's not known yet whether this star has any planets around it. But what they do know is that it's about 28 times dimmer than our sun. And so the astronomers were observing this star for about 10 minutes. During which they detected this signal, and it was picked up and it was observed to be, quote, almost periodic, which is just another way of saying it seemed artificial in nature. Now, of course, we have a lot of satellites in space, and there's been some instances in the past where these strange signals have been detected, and it was found that some of them actually came from our own satellites that were found to be just passing by in view of the telescope at the time that they were detected. However, on July 12th, the astronomers indicated that whatever this signal was, it was not coming from anything human or man-made, no satellites, no nothing. And we're quoted as saying that we have never seen satellites emit bursts like this, and that the signals were, quote, very peculiar. Now, to see if the signals are still there, starting yesterday actually, the astronomers at Arecibo are going to stare at Ross 128 and its surroundings many, many more times. And so success in this case will be to find the signal again, and to see if they could possibly be coming from a planet that is around the star, or some sort of object out there that is, quote, periodically emitting these strange signals. And one fine day, we will get to the point where we can say definitively that we've detected a signal from an extraterrestrial entity. Now, before we go today, I want to show you guys some new UFO sightings that have recently hit the web. The first of which was posted by the YouTube channel The Hidden Underbelly 2.0, and I'll post the link to these down in the video description. And in this footage, it was described as a UFO possibly imitating a cloud. So you're seeing that footage here. The camera is panning up through the trees, and you start to see this sort of white circular object slowly moving through the sky, which at first glance looks like a cloud of some sort. However, when we get a clear shot of this thing, it becomes apparent that whatever this thing is, it's definitely not a cloud. It almost has this sort of half-moon-like shape to it as it quietly drifts through the sky. And this is a really anomalous finding. I've never quite seen a UFO that looks like this. And right off the bat, we can deduce that obviously it's not a drone, it's not a balloon, it's not one of those black circular smoke rings, you know, like the ones you've probably been seeing on the news lately that everyone's identifying as a UFO. They're just black smoke rings. But this, whatever it is, it holds its shape. It seems to have some reflection off of it, and it's completely unexplainable. So the question is this one of these UFOs that we've heard about many times from many witnesses that are cloaking themselves to blend in our skies and to look like nothing more than a cloud? I'll leave that up to you guys. So big thanks to the Hidden Underbelly 2.0 for bringing this footage to my attention. Let me know what you guys think and if you've seen something similar. And lastly, before we go, I want to show you a very anomalous photograph taken from up at the International Space Station during the STS-119 mission, which occurred in March of 2009. So you're seeing this photograph here. We see the ISS above, the Earth down below, and I want you guys to put your attention to right above the Earth's horizon line, and you'll probably notice this already, but there's a few faint lights on the horizon that seem to be either hovering or moving back behind the Earth, at least at the time that this photo was taken. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. And, I mean, we can clearly see two red lights, one on top of the other, and if you look directly below, we see another faint object that is just starting to move in, or again, behind the Earth's atmosphere, which is this blue haze you're seeing. And so whatever these objects are, this is clear UFO evidence. From the looks of the photo, whatever these objects are, they're potentially hundreds of miles away, which would also mean that they are very large. And you know, when I was looking at this photo, it reminded me of another photograph that was taken decades before during the 1966 Gemini mission, where once again they were above Earth, and in the distance we once again can see what almost look identical to the two red lights we're seeing from the STS-119 mission. And yeah, in this image taken decades before, we have two red objects, again, side by side, looking to be much farther apart, but that could just be a matter of perspective. So when I saw the original photograph, I thought about this and I said, okay, we may have evidence here that these two red glowing or reflective objects have been witnessed and photographed over 40 years apart, which would mean that whatever these things are, they've been snapped visiting our planet multiple times. So in my opinion, this is some concrete evidence, once again, of the ongoing UFO activity happening out in space and above our planet, not just down on our planet. So I'll put the link to these down in the video descriptions. You guys can analyze them yourselves. And really quick before we go, I got to give a shout out to Fox News, who was kind enough to feature one of our recent videos where we spoke about the scientist who detected these massive objects proliferating at planet Saturn. And so Fox News, of all people, which is kind of strange in and of itself, it's kind of the last place you would think that would post information on aliens, well, due to it being sort of more of a religious-leaning news organization. But hey, free publicity is free publicity, so at least we're getting the word out there, and that is all that matters. So with that, thanks again, guys, for stopping by. Be sure to share and stay tuned, because I've got a lot more coming, and I will see you all back in just a bit. Stay safe, guys.